Hello everyone, my name is Legend Ronnie and this game is Rise of Kingdoms, Tomyris Commander Spotlight. Probably waited a little bit too long, but I just want to make sure before I'm gonna do a Commander Spotlight about her, I'm gonna deliver the right information, because there has been a lot of players who already maxed her, a lot of field battle testings have been done with her. So obviously I want to give you guys my tips and advices and everything that I know about Tomyris. Right, so you are noticing that mine is 5-2-5-2, so it's not yet max skills. It's probably gonna take me a little longer. I do have another Mightiest Governor about her, but this Mightiest Governor is pretty sealed off. The rank 1 has like 190 million, so I'm definitely not gonna spend for a rank 2. It's not worth it. I usually advise you, if you want to go in the Mightiest Governor, to try to aim for the first spot or at least on the top 15 to either get at least 10 sculptures. Rank 2, rank 3, that all depends on how much you're gonna spend to actually get those ranks. Now that I mentioned about Mightiest Governor, you pretty much know how you can obtain this commander. She is in the Mightiest Governor event. Few things I can tell you about Legendary before we go any further. You wanna know how expensive it is to max out the Legendary. 690 sculptures to max the entire skills and a lot of stars. I would say that it's about 650 to 700 stars, but this is just relative numbers. My also advice about every single Legendary is to keep them with 1 star, max their primary skill. That's usually the most important one. After that, you can unlock the 2nd star, the 3rd or the 4th, depending on the commander. I've done a video about that. If you're interested and you want to take a look. Equipment only applies from the primary commander and talents only apply from the primary commander. So these two things you also want to keep in mind. Going through her skills, you're probably noticing her primary skill, 1000 direct damage factor and then poison factor, 10 stacks and more than 10 stacks. So 80 damage factor per stack, that means 800 damage factor if she has more than 10 stacks. A few things we have noticed when they keep introducing the legendary commanders is that they are usually coming in pairs. So when Tomyris was introduced into the game, was introduced with Edward of Woodstock, which I have in max skills. I use him. He's a formidable commander, a really beast of a commander. On the battlefield, not as much, because he's archers and archers are pretty squishy on the battlefield. So far I just noticed they give a lot of severely wounded, and I try to avoid using archers, to be honest, but if he's left alone, Edward is doing some damage. He's being used in Lost Canyon, he's being used in Sunset Canyon as well. Lost Canyon is new in the Lost Kingdom, and he's very used in Rally. Edward very used in Rally. I've done a couple of videos about that because he's just too awesome. I'm definitely gonna post cards about all that because you definitely want to know about him as well. So her primary skill, her secondary skill, to be honest, I'm not hyped at all. Payback, normal attack damage bonus 30% and decreasing her counter attack damage by 10%. Normal attack is nothing really that crazy on archers, or at least I haven't seen anything special, considering that Edward has guarantee 15% normal attack and counter attack damage by 50% for 2 seconds after using a skill. So this is guarantee normal attack and counter attack damage. So his primary commander and then his secondary means that it's 4 seconds. I haven't personally seen anything crazy on the normal attack damage going so high, even with 50%. So 30% increase when attacking city specific. This is a little bit of a drawback on this commander. But then she has attack bonus and defense reduction with a 10% chance. This is pretty insane. Permanent 30% attack bonus on archers and 10% chances to decrease the defense on a single target by 30% for 3 seconds. I would say that this is a very sweet skill. This is a very packed skill altogether on this commander. So I was pretty lucky to actually get this one maxed. This was pretty much my aim. I went 5, then I unlocked the other 2 skills because pretty much all I cared about was her 3rd and her 4th, but I was unlucky and I upgraded this one at least 1 time. If you manage to go 5-1-5-5 with Tomyris, that's pretty much as good as she can get. If you look at her expertise, increase normal attack and current turn attack damage by 10%. Like I said, normal attack damage is nothing that crazy, especially 10%, nowhere near close to that. And when attack reduce the attack of attacker's cavalry by 10%, well, Cavs usually have about 200. What's 10% extra or minus? Nothing that crazy again. Especially that Cavs counter archers, so not really good expertise. I'm not sure if I would classify this as one of the worst expertise, to be honest, on a commander. Probably if they would have increased the numbers, maybe reducing by 30% the cav attack, then it would probably be something. Increase normal attack and counter attack maybe 20%, then yeah, those numbers would have just mean something. But her main purpose as a commander is pretty much her force skill. So this is all about her forge skill. All you see on this commander, it's all focused on this. On the, I cannot spell that. On this passive skill. Gives all regular attacks when it's maxed 100% chance to poison a single target for 5 seconds and stacks up to 15 times. The poison duration is refreshed each time a stack is added. Poison targets will take an additional 3% skill damage per stack. So this is the whole beauty about Tomyris, and this is where everything is focused, because you can use a rally. So for example, in a lot of situations where a flag or a pass is being double or triple rallied, I think I've even seen a flag being 4 times rallied or fortresses. Even that is possible. This is where Tomyris is actually excelling, because you're gonna use her with a commander like Edward, or you can even use her as primary. We're gonna get to that later on, because that's where it's gonna getting a little bit interesting. Using her primary for rally, and you're gonna stack up this poison, meaning that the other marchers, which are probably again skill damage dealing marchers, will just do additional skill damage. So obviously you want to pair Tomyris with commanders that do slow skill, because you want to stack up the poison first. You want the other marchers or whoever is targeting that target to do more skill damage. And second, you want to make sure that you get the 10 stacks. In order to make sure that you get the 10 stacks, I came up with a couple of ideas, or if you want to call them theories. And I think she's pretty limited on utilities. I believe that Edward and Tomyris is definitely made a pair. I have tested Edward against barbarians, and if you don't use the skill tree, Edward takes about 13 turns until he's gonna power up his primary skills. Then you can add up 2 more turns, and Tomyris is gonna power up her skill, meaning that you reach the maximum stacks when Tomyris is gonna do her poison damage or arrow of vengeance, which that brings you to about 1200 damage factor. You're gonna get 1000 on the first and 1200 on the second one, but it also means that Edward will do a much powerful one. Now that was the initial attack. The second initial attack, it occurred in 11 turns. So the first one took longer, the second one 11, and then I noticed that it's attacking barbarians is around 11 turns, 12 turns I've also seen. So pretty much if you use Edward primary and Tomyris second, Tomyris, you got the 4 skill maxed, managed to make at least 10 stacks of poisons, and not just Edward will hit stronger, but any other march that are actually hitting that target. So this is actually the full purpose of Tomyris, is actually debuffing targets. So if you want to use her on the battlefield, that's definitely not wrong. That was pretty much the purpose of unlocking and leveling up Tomyris. My plan was to go with Edward and Tomyris for field battles. It's just that archers are so squishy on the field battles, and players tend to just target the archers and you immediately have to retreat them. So not much utilities for them on the field battles, but in terms of rally and especially hitting cities, if you max Tomyris second to Edward, definitely and highly advise it. Now, other options you could run with Tomyris is using her primary, which might sound a little bit crazy. She doesn't have much skill damage, she has the attack tree and archer tree. Now I've done a talent for her. this talent can also be a little bit debated about it. So you notice that I went with Moment of Triumph and I also went with Buckler Shield and the full Archer talent tree. Now this would be for field battle. If I would do a talent tree for rally, I'll probably take down the Moment of Triumph and go for Fight Till the Death, is the 2 swords from the attack, and you need to take the 1 out of 3 from the Archer tree and you will manage to get Fight Till the Death. Now Buckler Shield, whenever commanders do have it, I usually like to take it. It's 9% counter-attack damage reduction, which is nothing really bad. For 6 talent points it's pretty good, but if you don't find it useful, then you can definitely go get Armored Joints if you want to take some less damage, or you want to go back and finish the attack on your archers to get 2% more attack. I just believe that Buckler Shield is just worth it. Using her primary, I would find very interesting as a pair, and I think it would be really unique with Alexander the Great as a second. Like I mentioned in many of the videos when I've done about commanders, I always mention how universal Alexander is. The only thing that if you would use Tomyris primary with just archers and Alexander second, it's this one. This is the frontline commander, is the only one that you will not benefit from. But the rest, attack, defense when the shield, direct damage factor, healing effect reduction, the shield and the debuff. These are things that you will benefit from Alexander if you use him second to Tomyris. On top of that, you will get the poison debuffs on the target and you will use archers. A lot of damage factor or decent damage factor, and 100% you will manage to stack at least 10 stacks on the target. So think about it, because this is a lot of luck involved. If you're using Tomyris primary with Alex second, Tomyris will stack the poison, Alexander will come with the attack and the debuff options on the target. Imagine once you get a lot of stack, if you keep getting Alexander second skill popping in, 1700 damage factor with a lot of skill damage bonus. I think it will just be a very interesting build. Plus you have all the attack damage from the attack tree and the archer tree with the full archer tree. Very interesting combination, which definitely needs testing. Now another interesting combination with her, I also find Tomyris first and Mehmed the second. Skill damage, attack and AoE. Especially when you hit cities. If you have a max skill Mehmed, Tomyris is also a conquering commander, so you also have a bonus hitting cities. Then you have Mehmed, which also brings 10% more troops in the rally. You use full archers because that's what Tomyris is good at. Then you have Mehmed a second, pack with a lot of attack and skill and nuking capabilities. I also think this will be a very interesting pair for Tomyris. And then you have Frederick as well. So Tomyris and Frederick would also be a very interesting pair for both field battles and rallies in the same time. If you have a max skill Frederick, that's also a way I would test Tomyris. So if you actually invested in Tomyris, there's nothing wrong. You just need to know where exactly to use her. So in situation of multiple rallies, that's where I would use her. On field battles as well, I would use her because you do debuff a target. So it's really good. I don't know, you put 5-6 stacks, 7 stacks on a target, that's another 20% skill damage that target will get. Multiple rally situation or when attacking cities. This is pretty much the places where I would find her working really good. Obviously she can definitely work with commanders like Julius Caesar if you want to hit cities as well, or any other conquering commander, not Saladin but other conquering commanders if I didn't mention them. A bit of a limited utilities for Tomyris if you want to ask me. Like I said, she's kind of tight for just a couple of places, but she does great in Lost Canyon, she does great on field battles, Sunset Canyon and all these places. So if you invested in her, there's nothing wrong with it, definitely use her. Any other options you want to make with Tomyris, you want to take in consideration her force skill. So you're probably wondering why I'm not saying YSG and Tomyris, why I'm not saying L-Cid and Tomyris, or maybe Tomyris and L-Cid, because L-Cid is a rage engine commander, is a commander that actually needs as much rage as possible, same as YSG. Edward on the other hand, it takes too long to build his skill, even with a full skill tree. I think even if you use Edward with a full skill tree and Tomyris a second, I still believe that you will manage to get at least 10 stacks obviously needs to be tested. My 4 skill is not max, so my test kind of failed because it doesn't go in every single time, every single attack to apply the stack. You need 100% probability on the 4 skill to do the proper test. If you want to use her with other archer commanders, definitely that's nothing wrong, or other commanders like, I don't know, Osman or Herman or Kusunoki. Just don't expect very high results from her. Pretty much rally oriented, same as Edward is. This is pretty much her capabilities, or where she will excel the most. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to drop them in the comment section below, and I'll definitely gonna answer it. Once I put my hands and actually max this commander, I'll definitely do more testing and do more videos like I've done about Edward, and I prove that the skill tree is actually worth it on Edward as well, and I do the same with all commanders. Until next time, this is your boy Johnny signing off. Peace out, yo, and take care.